where was I? It was
Hi, guys.
Greece, I think.
Why do you always have to show everybody up?
And I certainly roasted my nuts that day.
I bet you did. Hi, Mike. I know you're having dinner, and there's Eric from Oslo. Hello.
Ah, Eric the Viking.
Eric's up late. It's 11:30 there. Wow. We're just waiting.
You know, I did my first sort of overseas detachment with my first squadron to Oslo. I think we were at a base
Montana,
called
Tony.
Garden Gnome. We all called it Garden Gnome anyway. It's attached to the military side of Oslo Airport, and we just thought it was brilliant because no one in that country, including the men, wore a bra. It was just fantastic.
Including the men.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're saying they probably should have.
Well, no. We were very happy. We thought that was fantastic. And we used to have a kind of a code because when you're using your radar to try and find a target and they're jamming you, you just get a big spoke on the radar, and you can tell what bearing they are, but you can't tell what range is. But as you get close enough, eventually the power of your radar overcomes the power of their jammer, and you get burn through. So you get little target appears in the jamming, and you called it burn through. So if you saw a particularly attractive Norwegian girl showing a little bit of nipple. It was, I've got some burn through at 1 o'clock. So all the heads would swivel. What?
What? Where?
Exactly. We were, healthy young men.
So Jeff is just working on getting Steph into the StreamYard session, everybody.
Okay.
The whole purpose of this is to have some time with Steph, and
Yes.
we haven't got
I'm
her
going to
on
stay
yet.
stum, and then I'm going to quietly slip away at about 11:30.
We'll miss you, Nick, but we're going to be done in an
I'll be
hour.
back on Saturday, don't worry.
I know.
You'll get more than enough.
So, did you get the last train on Saturday night, Nick?
No, I managed. I jumped in a taxi because I knew if I didn't catch the 10:45 train, I'd have to get the last train, which was 11:45.
Right.
But I didn't want to kick around the station for
No.
sort of 50 minutes.
No.
So I got on a taxi and said to the guy, "Can you get me in there in time for the last train?" And he drove like a trooper. We whizzed around.
Nice.
I gave him a tip. And
So
I
then
just
that got
ran
you-
straight to the train and got there 90 seconds before I left.
Perfect.
Brilliant.
And then that got you to Liss at what time? Is it an hour to get to Liss?
Yeah, it got me at midnight.
And then how long was the walk?
Oh, a good half hour. And I was being chased by a werewolf.
I know. I'm very
That was
worried.
terrifying. I mean, I'm down this.
There she
this
is. There's
cunt-
Steffi.
Oh,
Yay.
Steffi, baby.
Woohoo!
Steph has
Yep.
replaced
Did
AJ.
it.
That's much more
I don't
attractive.
know where
Yes.
AJ went. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I had no idea why I never got an email, but definitely didn't have one. So
Okay. Yeah. Well,
Hi,
I was supposed to
Sam.
send you one, but apparently they dropped the ball. Okay. So I think Camacho's using my login credentials.
Ah, no, I need to get these in
So,
the right
Jeff,
order.
are we doing
My
the
OCD is going to...
like the countdown and stuff today, or is that a Saturday feature? Like, what are you doing? What's your plan?
Well, we don't have his. It doesn't do any good to do it.
No, that's what
today.
I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be added in post.
Fine. Fine.
Hi, Sam.
Fine.
Hi, Anthony.
Fine. Be like that. All right. So we're going to shoot for an hour. Yeah. Camacho said he might join.
Shoot.
If Camacho joins, I'd love to get this news item. What was that?
Something
Shoot
exploded.
said shoot. So
I'd love to get the news item G covered that we've been holding for Camacho for like about a month. That would be great.
Yes.
And maybe the open door one, F. There's got another open door crash.
Is that
Yeah.
the Baron?
Yeah.
Yep.
In Colorado.
Yeah, I watched Juan Brown's thing on that. It's the same story. Just stop
Yeah,
flying the airplane.
I put the link to his video in that note.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
I should have just gone there and watched it then.
Yeah.
Maybe I would say those two. We're going to have lots of time. I think we're going to need lots of time for getting to know us today because Steph's got lots of good stuff to talk about. And Camacho, if he's on, hasn't been on for a while.
My stuff only takes place over like 2 days, so it's not really that much to.
Oh, I know, but
talk.
anyway, I don't. You know how fast an hour goes. It goes fast.
I
So
do. Yeah.
I would say 2 news items. Those two news items. And
Getting to know us and feedback, whatever which we get through.
yeah, just seeing if there's
Anything in feedback, I think
I'm just-
that
I'm
might be
just-
Steph
I'm just looking.
centric or Steph Camacho centric.
Not really. No, I would say
Captain
not.
Nick centric.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of Captain Nick centric.
Yeah,
Also,
let's leave that
the
till
BA
Saturday,
146, there are 2 that refer to that, so I'll try to remember to do both of those in sequence. Here, let me give you the numbers.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah,
3
3 and
and
yes, 3 and yeah,
14.
yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
I guess I could reorder those for Saturday.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Not a problem.
I just
That's
dumping
what
them in
Amazon
there.
keeps saying. Do you want to reorder
Oh, I
this?
know what we should do while Steffi's here is the DoorDash driver at O'Hare.
Oh yes, that's
That's got to be for Steph.
Okay.
Okay, so those 3 news, getting to know us, and then we'll see where we're at. We might even not get
All
to
right.
any feedback. We'll see.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't really need to be with you guys to start, right? Because
Yeah, not really.
no. All right.
You can
Bye.
just
Go
say,
away.
like, wave to
Bye.
everybody bye.
Thanks for
But you
coming.
don't have to leave right this second because I'm still not
Excuse
quite
me.
ready.
Me.
So AJ,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I don't think that you have completely corrected your intro narrative.
Oh, yeah,
Don't
Nick
die.
recorrected it.
Okay.
Guarantee you that's what happened.
Well, you know what? I'm just going to have what I actually should say.
No, it looks right
available
on my
to me
screen.
in my messages, and just ignore what's
Cheat.
up
Cheat.
here. Yeah, so he can't
Cheating.
he can't fix it.
I can't see a difference anyway, so
He's put it in a sterile area.
I think that he just did something to fix it again.
Nick is
I'm
just
refreshing my
just
screen.
A little helper.
Nick,
isn't
Nick
he?
is
Little helper.
being. How old are you, Nick? Again, 68.
6. No,
About
it's
nine.
just 6. Just the one number 6.
60.
Yeah,
a late
six
60s
works.
toddler is what he is.
He's late
Yeah.
60s going on 4.
Exactly.
But we love you that way, Nick. We love it.
Yeah. Don't change, man. Just
Yeah.
don't change. Okay.
Okay.
I don't think it's likely to happen now. It was going to happen if it happened years ago.
Right. Okay. So let me go back and look at the ones that you were talking about,
We're going to
Liz.
do F, G, and K in the
F, G,
news.
and K.
And
Should probably
then
write that down.
It's a lot shorter than it used to be, AJ.
That was part of the idea.
F, G, and K.
F, G, and K, and then getting to know us,
FG.
and we'll see where we're at.
Okay. Where are we? Okay. So, any of those have video? F,
Nope.
G.
Oh, there might be some. There was. I don't know if you extracted video
yeah.
from X for the DoorDash
I
guy.
yeah, I did. I
Okay.
did finally figure out how to get that. And okay, so will that be the first one that we do?
Yeah, it is. There isn't video for the other ones. The other 2.
Well, F is fatal crash at Broomfield. G is
The Camacho one, if he's
Camacho.
here, I guess.
Oh yeah, he hasn't arrived yet.
No.
Okay. Okay. K. Last one. Okay. So let me start up. Present. Keynote.
No, I just
Also-
did. Thanks.
And with you, AJ, I had to do a lot of editing right before you would talk and right after. There was a lot of
Be right back.
noise stuff going on. I don't know what that was actually with your microphone. I don't know. Do you have like a mute that's actually on your microphone or? Yeah. Okay. That's what I'm hearing. I think when you're turning on and off your.
Is it like a click, like a thunk?
Yeah.
That.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's quite noisy.
If you could just
I can
use
do-
the. Perfect. And then I think they make mic drop for Windows. Maybe not. I don't know. But that's a cute little app that that Nick and I are using. Although I can't use it on the show because it mutes absolutely everything. And usually when I'm muting, it's because I'm playing video or something or audio, and it mutes all that too. So
Hi, Kevin,
That's
from
no
just
good.
north of Boston.
okay. Let me make sure that you can still.
AJ, when you mute, you could disguise it by making a different noise, like breaking wind or something.
Once again, Nick is so helpful.
I'll come up with something inventive.
He is just so
It
helpful.
is very helpful.
I just can't get over what a helpful guy he is.
Oh, you are such a valued part of our team.
Valued time waster.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're not going to do the intro.
No, and
We're
I'll just
gonna-
say, have a good show, and then I'll go, and then you guys can start your news.
Okay. Let me get my.
Tell me when you're
Stream
starting, and
thing.
then that'll be my start time.
Okay.
I do see Nick Camacho lurking there. Do you want to wait for him? Or
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
Is he?
Oh,
Are
yeah.
you going to be ready?
You going to join
Just
us,
like
Nick, or are
thumbs
you
up,
just going to
thumbs
stay
down?
there dwelling in the
Lurking.
basement?
Oh, lurking. Okay. Thumbs down.
Oh, he's having issues. Oh. I'm trying to get. Oh, he's on a work call. Okay. So you can just join us in progress. Is that first one that we're going to cover one that
No.
we wanted him to? Okay.
Well, he might
The
want
second one.
The second one's really
Second one.
his, but he might want to talk about the Bonanza too. But
Oh, yeah. That's a Baron, though,
Baron.
right?
or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure we were on the same
Yeah.
page.
No, sorry. I get my
Same
B's
difference.
mixed up.
Hey, they all start with a B,
Exactly. What do you want? Could be a Boeing or
Beach
something.
except for his airplane, which it starts with a D. The
Debonair.
debonair.
Because he is a debonair kind of guy.
You know what I'm going to do, AJ? If it's all right with you, I'm going to edit your mic settings. Well, I thought I was.
He's going to
I
edit your
guess I
mic
can't.
settings so you're totally
Could you-
mute for the whole show.
Well, why can't I? No, I can't edit your mic settings for some reason. If you could go in there and click the box that says, let's see, what does it say? Reduce
hearing-
mic background noise.
You are hearing me through my microphone. Like it sounds okay, right?
Yeah, tap on it.
Yep.
Yes.
Because when I go to
Right.
audio settings, it says that it's default something.
Steffi, do you have dinner plans or something that we need to
What did
shoot for?
What did you want me to do with the mic?
So if you have your microphone selected under your microphone settings, under settings, and then your audio, there's something called reduce mic background noise.
Do you want that checked or
Have you
unchecked?
checked that?
I have not.
Checked.
It is
Check
checked.
Ah. Very good. Now I'm
hello,
not hearing all
Mirko.
that background noise.
I don't remember seeing Mirko here before.
Very good. Very good. That sounds so much better. Thank you. It had like a noise floor.
Oh, it's Jim Mercado. Hi, Jim Mercado.
Oh, Jim Mercado's here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, I've never seen him called Mirko before.
Mirko?
Yeah, that's great.
Is that like a,
Sounds like a car.
what is it called?
Birkin.
Merkin.
I knew exactly what you were thinking about.
Steph looked at me and goes, oh, I know what
That would be with a U. A Mirko. A Mirko.
We're just going to call Jim Merkin because he's proud to be a Merkin.
Great to see you.
Look it up,
Jim.
people.
Yeah. I'm proud to be an American.
Oh, that
Anyway,
tickled me.
Steffi, do you have a hard out time that you need to be?
I was hoping about an hour from now, but I could probably do until 7. So
Okay.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
I'm hoping about an hour from now will work. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's nice to know that you could possibly go to.
yeah, it's mostly just that I know I have a ton of things I still need to
Yeah.
wrap up this evening before I can go to bed. So I'm
You
trying
have
to make sure I
just
give
a lot
myself
of
enough.
better things to do. Okay,
No, I just have
get it.
too many things to do is the problem.
And she'd like to get some sleep tonight.
And I would like to sleep, as all my sleep trackers are like, "You're doing a
That's
terrible
highly
job
overrated.
of sleeping."
Hardly overrated. Okay, for those of you in our live audience or live chat, hello, welcome. We love you. Thanks so much. We are going to do a two-parter. This is going to be part 1 tonight. And I know some of you have been here the whole time and have heard what our plan is here, but we don't have the intro from Radio Roger yet, so we're not going to play the intro. I'll just add that in post. So we'll do a couple, 2-3 news items, and we'll go to getting to know us, and then maybe if we have any time left over, we're going to try to keep it to about an hour. We'll do some feedback, maybe. So
Yeah, and just a
Oh,
bit of a
no.
heads up, we probably will
Tim's
do
here.
a few two-parters in the next few weeks because everybody's super busy. Nick's bowling and Steffi's doing her thing, and
might have to do like a 5-parter,
yes,
like individual.
Just individual.
10 minutes with every crew
That's right.
member.
Or I might just have them do their own, and then we'll just send them to me and I'll publish all.
Nick
of them.
says it's not looking promising for him.
All right.
Oh no. Okay. Well,
Well, you
Thanks
could
for-
always, yeah.
yeah. Thanks for giving it a go or the try, the college try. Okay. Let me get this recorder running.
Okay.
What is that me making that sound? I guess I need to go turn that off. Okay, silent. I usually have to tell somebody else to do that.
You're just getting admonished by Tim Van Ram, Jeff. Apparently
Oh
he's
yeah, I'm sorry,
expecting you to
Tim.
be out there.
Yeah, it turns out I don't think I would have been able to make it. And
He didn't want to be with
meant to
you,
tell
Tim.
you,
Like,
but now that
But
you're
now that
there
you've
and you don't
asked.
see me,
Yeah.
let's be honest
it's kind of
about it.
obvious. Let's be honest. Okay, do not disturb is on. Okay.
Okay, let's.
All right. And then, are we recording over here? It doesn't look like it, Jeff. Try that again. Okay. Okay, I see my track. If somebody in StreamYard will say something.
Saying something.
Okay, now do a quick Unity. I didn't hear it again. Damn it. Oh, no, I do hear it. Okay, I do hear it. Okay, that's weird. I didn't see it right away. Okay, and then let me do, okay, got that. Okay, so it looks like it's recording the things that I need. So, let's go do,
We're not doing an intro or anything. We're just going to start with the news, right?
well, I was thinking we're not doing a Radio Roger intro, but I'd still like to do the, like, thank you, Radio Roger, and
Okay,
then do
all right.
the normal,
Okay.
that stuff.
All right, just tell
So
me.
you
when
can
you're-
hang around then, Liz.
Okay, so just
Yeah,
tell
I
me
guess
when
I
you
told you the
start.
wrong
When
thing.
you want the start time to be. Just tell me.
Okay. How about,
Now?
Let me just make sure I got my script up here. Okay. Now.
Okay, got it.
All right. Thank you, Radio Roger. He's an award-winning TV and radio reporter, currently at the #1 all-news station in the nation, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM in New York City. Welcome to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. It's an aviation podcast covering the latest in aviation news and answering your great feedback. And joining us today from her lakeside studio in South, doctor, skydiver, marathon runner, IPA connoisseur, and commercial multi-engine instrument-rated backstabbing jumper dumper. It's Dr. Steph.
Hey, Captain Jeff. It's good to see you guys. I'm really glad to be here, at least for a short while this week. So, looking forward to some good conversation here.
Yeah, we're looking forward to getting all caught up with you as well. All right. And also joining us from his studio,
in Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire,
retired professional dog photographer, former RAF, RAAF fighter pilot, retired Airbus A330, A340 captain for Virgin Atlantic Airways. It's Captain Nick.
Hi there, Jeff. Hello, everybody. We've got a big team in tonight. It's great. APG 664. Now, Whiskey 664 was the registration of a Hawker Hunter, like what I flew. And there's also a Twin Otter with the manufacturer's serial number of 664, like what Steph flies. Good, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah.
Making those connections.
Yeah, but wasn't there something bad like that happened?
Oh, there are plenty
like
of crashes.
Okay.
Flight 664 has
usually.
not been a good number for most airlines.
Okay.
Well, the fact that Nick flew it was bad news, so that was pretty bad.
Thanks for keeping it on the light side then, Captain Nick.
Doing my
Appreciate
best.
that. All right. And also joining us from the north woods of the Atlanta suburbs, race car driver, self-taught chef, and commercial multi-engine instrument-rated pilot with an interest in anything with enough horsepower to kill him. It's A.J. Schramm, or he likes to call himself Alpha Juliet to kind of stay below the radar.
Hey, Jeff. Good to be back. Make sure you mark me down for 2 in a row. That's 2 in a row.
Oh, yeah. That's 2 in a row. Mark him down. Okay, we got it.
Glad to be back.
Staff's
Glad to see you
on it.
guys.
Great to have you again, sir. And also joining us from her studio in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. She's a retired financier, an aviation enthusiast, spreadsheet master, and our producer, Liz Piper.
Hi, everybody. Great to see y'all, all y'all.
It's great to see y'all too.
Okay, have a good show, you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you. Let's do some news.
stand by for news.
All right, we're going to start with this. Oh, darn it. Another open door on a GA aircraft resulting in a fatal crash. This is from, let's see, KKTV, a local news affiliate in Broomfield, Colorado. A plane crashed while leaving the Rocky Mountain Metropolitan Airport in Broomfield on Saturday. There were no survivors, according to the North Metro Fire Rescue District. The FAA said 2 people were on board, and their preliminary report reads as follows. A Beechcraft 95, which is a Baron, I believe, crashed short of the runway as the pilot was attempting to land at Rocky Mountain Metro Airport in Broomfield, Colorado, around 10:05 local time on Saturday, May 17th. So let's see, that was about, this last weekend. Yeah, not long ago. 2 people were on board. The FAA and National Transportation Safety Board will investigate. The NTSB is the lead investigative agency and will provide any updates. And the airport representatives say that the Beechcraft twin-engine airplane took off just after 10. The pilot called the air traffic control tower, reporting an issue with its door being open. While trying to return to the airport, representatives say the plane crashed near the intersection of Brainerd and Midway off the Flatiron Crossing exit. You guys are familiar with that, right? and resulting in a fire that was extinguished by the North Metro Fire Department. The Boulder Police Department has secured the scene. The Federal Aviation Administration, okay, we already talked about that. The public is advised to avoid the area as authorities continue their investigation. Okay, and that's several days ago. I'm sure it's okay now to go to that area. We've also included a link to another great Juan Brown Blancalirio YouTube channel video. He covered this just a couple of days ago, and it goes into a lot of detail regarding the airplane and also, the situations where you have a door open, etc. So we'll include that in our show notes. Anything that any of our, especially our GA folks, want to talk about here as far as, any of your own perspectives regarding open door? Now, I know, Steph, you're going to say, well, I always fly with my door open. So, what's the big deal?
Right. But I'll put an asterisk with that, or caveat, just to note that the aircraft that I fly are meant to do so. I know we've talked about certain aircraft types, especially smaller GA ones, where especially the baggage compartment door, I think it was in the Mooney, can adversely affect the flying properties of the aircraft. So I'm not sure specifically with this make and model if something like that is more of a concern. I think AJ actually has watched the video here, but it sounds like this was just more of a case of the door was open and unfortunately they were distracted, and we always talk about aviate, navigate, communicate. They stopped doing that first one, the aviate part. So very unfortunate.
You should never do that. That's
It's kind of the one that matters.
Yeah,
it is.
That's why it's the first on the list.
Oh, and I just thought it was kind of alphabetically
Catchy.
listed, but yeah. Yeah, is this, AJ, since you probably know a little bit more than the rest of us regarding this, was this one of the types of airplanes that have that side door, like you have the aft?
This door, it does have a back door on it, but this was the cockpit door, is generally the one that's an issue on these. And you do lose a little bit of performance on the Baron, but it's not that dramatic. We're talking less than 100 feet per minute, give or take 100 feet per minute in climb. So nothing that would cause it to fall out of the sky. I think this was purely down to just like Steph said, not paying attention, trying to fix the door problem and not fixing flying the airplane problem. Most of my background, a lot of my background is in Cessnas, and we have a joke in Cessnas that when one door closes, another one opens. So we're used to it.
It's very true.
and
Especially the little side window. It's open all the time. Like, if you have 172 or 182, any little movement, change in air pressure, airflow, and it's like that window just will pop open on you.
If you get all the windows shut and all the doors shut on a Cessna, it gets really eerily quiet. It's very strange. It's not a good feeling.
So that wasn't a philosophical kind of statement regarding when one door
it's more
closes,
literal.
another open. Okay, it's actually literal. Okay, got it. All right. So I'm sure we'll learn more after the NTSB is finished with their investigation. And again, it's sad. Come on, people. ABA, navigate, communicate. ANC, Anchorage. No, that's not a good way to remember that. Just remember, fly the airplane, and then everything else is secondary.
Yes. Continue flying the airplane at all times.
Continue.
Please.
Yeah, even into if you're going to be doing a crash landing, just continue to fly the airplane.
One of my
even in a
favorite
crash.
quotes. One of my favorite quotes is from Bob Hoover. It says, "When faced with a forced landing, fly the thing as far into the crash as possible."
Exactly.
I
That's
think of
good
the guy
advice.
on the golf course from a couple weeks ago. That was a good example of
Yeah,
continuing to
no
fly
kidding.
fly
Tyler.
the airplane until the last possible moment.
Yeah,
That's
we know
right,
Tyler. He's a
That's
good
right.
friend of the show now.
I saw that.
Yeah, we could do that. Okay. All right. Let me find. That's a problem that I've been consistently having here, trying to find the Evernote window. There it is. I found it. You said item B. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. This is, well, we have a couple of articles, one from the Business Insider and also another one from Paddle Your Own Canoe. Okay. Liz always has that's a
Surprising.
contract. That's a contractual thing. It's good. It's her little spending money, that she uses during the week. Yeah, well, we're not going to go into that. Wow, that sounded very snarky. But very true too. So this is from Sam Dawson. I'm stunned that after the German wings crash, Europe does not have a two-man rule. We've had it in the U.S. at least as long as I've been an airline pilot. Again, that's Sam Dawson. So he sent us this link to the Business Insider. A Lufthansa flight went 10 minutes without a pilot after the first. They should commas. They don't really cost anything. But if you put in a comma right there, then I would be able to read it correctly. Or would you actually need one there? That's going to be another podcast, I guess. All right. A Lufthansa flight went 10 minutes without a pilot after the first officer fell ill while alone in the cockpit, according to investigators. The Airbus A321 was flying from Frankfurt, Germany to Seville, Spain in February of last year. Okay, so that was... Do they mean 2024? Oh, okay. Full details of the incident came to light on Thursday of 2025, May, when Spanish investigators published their final report. More than 200 people were on board the flight, which appeared to be running smoothly before it crossed the Spanish border. That's the problem. Okay.
Spain, definitely Spain.
Yeah, I guess. Let's see. Let's go to this next. I think you're right, Liz. This next link, this news item from the Paddle Your Own Canoe website, it has a little bit more information regarding this. Let's see. Investigators have now made an urgent recommendation imploring airlines to have at least two people in the cockpit. This occurred, by the way, was flight 1140, Lufthansa flight 1140 on the 17th of February of 2024. Let's see. They should always have two people in the cockpit at any one time after it was revealed that the first officer suffered a seizure and started to push buttons and make inputs on the controls uncontrollably. Data extracted from the airplane's black boxes show that no one was in control of the Airbus A321 for around 10 minutes as the captain desperately tried to regain access to the cockpit, and air traffic controllers became increasingly concerned. Let's see. The incident occurred about 10:30 in the morning. Flight 1140 was flying from Frankfurt to Seville. As the plane was over mainland Spain, the captain decided to leave the cockpit for a short toilet break, leaving the first officer alone on the flight deck. The captain told investigators that the co-pilot seemed fine when he left the cockpit, but just 30 seconds later, the 38-year-old first officer suffered a sudden and severe seizure caused by a previously undiagnosed heart condition that had not been picked up in mandatory aviation medical examinations. What happened next isn't entirely clear, as the FO only remembers the captain leaving the cockpit and then being tended to by cabin crew and an off-duty doctor in the forward galley of the plane. The black boxes, however, reveal that the first officer made a number of inputs on the controls, causing the master caution alarm to sound in the flight deck. After 7 minutes leaving the cockpit, the captain attempted to gain re-entry by pressing the standard entry code on a keypad next to the cockpit door. And I think this entry code isn't the emergency one that I was thinking that they were talking about here. It's something that probably alerts whoever is in the cockpit that somebody is trying to gain access. Let's see, the entry code does not automatically open the door, but only signals to I should just read it. Whoever's on the flight deck that someone's trying to gain entry. The request to open the reinforced bulletproof cockpit door went unanswered, but at first the captain thought he had accidentally entered the wrong code. The captain tried a second and then a third time without any success. A member of the cabin crew called the flight deck via an interphone, but this call went unanswered. Desperate to regain entry, the captain then entered an emergency code into the keypad. Again, this code doesn't automatically unlock the door immediately, but signals to anyone in the flight deck that the emergency code has been entered. That person can then unlock the door or deny entry. if after a set number of seconds, the person in the cockpit hasn't unlocked the door or denied entry, the door automatically unlocks for a couple of seconds. Before the timer ran out, however, the first officer manually opened the cockpit door. Okay, so he came to his senses. By this point, he was pale, sweating, moving strangely. So cabin crew rushed to get him out of the flight deck and started to provide first aid. The captain quickly resumed control of the plane and requested an emergency medical diversion to Madrid Barajas Airport, where the first officer was rushed to a local hospital but discharged a few hours later. So again, I think that we have another situation where they took the FO out of the cockpit. I'm guessing that the captain is by himself up there in the cockpit, but obviously in good hands. All right, let's see. Let's leave the plane. Okay, so yeah, Lufthansa initially followed the safety. Okay, the nub of it all. Is that what I should read the highlighted thing? I think I highlighted that. Let's see. Oh, and that they're talking about here in the past in March 2025. No, it wasn't
That's the wrong
2025.
No, it was back in 2015
2015
years ago.
maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a while. Yeah, I think you're right. 2016,
Nearly a
or something
decade
like
ago.
that. Yeah. In the aftermath of the horrifying crash of Eurowings flight 9525.
Yeah, it was.
German wings.
Yeah, German. Man. Okay, Matus.
Well, they've got a lot
Come on,
wrong
guys.
in this particular
Yeah.
section, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe
Possible.
Matus may have been having a seizure, or maybe it may have been
seizure.
imbibing a little bit too much. I don't know.
It's March 24th, 2015. So they were
2015. Oh, just one digit off. Okay.
Oh, well,
Let's
that's
see.
and
just
German
like the
flight.
entry code. Just one digit off. Damn.
Okay. Let me start over in this paragraph. In the aftermath of the horrifying crash of German Wings Flight 9525 in March of 2015, which killed all 150 people on board, European air safety regulators had called on airlines to always have 2 people in the cockpit at any one time. In that incident, the first officer waited for the captain to leave the flight deck to use the toilet and then took control of the plane in a horrendous case of murder-suicide, crashing the plane in the French Alps. Lufthansa initially followed the safety recommendations, but several years later decided to relax its rules. Many other airlines across Europe had been vehemently opposed to the safety recommendation and never brought in the 2 on the flight deck rule. Okay, so again, it says the Comisión de Investigación de Accidentes.
Nailed it.
Yeah, thank you. Where's my bell? There we go. Is now urging airlines to reconsider the risk assessments. Okay, discuss.
Oh, this is an interesting one, isn't it? Because we did discuss it at length when our company initially, after the German Wings crash, we had a policy of having a cabin crew member come onto the flight deck. And it wasn't just the German Wings thing; it was considered a security aid as well, to monitor the pilot that was left on the flight deck. And that didn't last very long. It was never mandated in the UK, as in a number of European countries, and quite quickly it was dropped again. The main consideration wasn't that the cabin crew were complaining dreadfully because they were one person short at regular intervals. It was normally because the cockpit door had to be opened for much longer to get, or often twice. Whoever was leaving to go to the toilet would open it, and then a cabin crew member would open it to come on to, that changeover wasn't smooth. And when it came to having some person on the flight deck who might have only been in the company a short time, and the security checkups that are done on all employees, even those that fly, are not like something that's done in the military. They're not like, MI5 gets and speaks to everyone and they do extensive checks. They're pretty superficial. So the idea was, and I'll tell you how they're superficial, because we have had investigative journalists posing or joining companies, and no one has checked up on them sufficient to discover that they're a journalist and not actually someone who's going to keep the job. They're just there to find out some dirty details about what happens in an airline. So the idea was that you're bringing someone to the flight deck that's not necessarily going to help. For a start, they may not even know how to open the cockpit door. They certainly aren't cleared to touch anything on any of the controls on the flight deck. So, what aid will they be? There was an awful lot of pushback against it. And the main thing occurred that if someone's going to become incapacitated, it's a pretty rare occurrence. They don't happen very often. For that rare occurrence to occur at the very moment that someone's left to go to the toilet is becoming infinitesimally small. Now, obviously, someone is eventually going to win the lottery. That's exactly what happened on this aircraft. Someone gets the Euro millions, but the chances of that person getting it twice are so remote as to be not worth considering. So that was, generally speaking, the opinion in the UK and in Europe, a lot of Europe. Now, I know that in the States, the FAA lays down a rule, and all the airlines therefore follow it. But that was definitely not the case in Europe.
Yeah, things are done a little bit differently over here on this side of the pond. It's not a suggestion or a guidance. It's a rule. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anything else? Okay. Camacho, come on in. You're the next contestant on the APG Price is Right.
While he's coming in, can I just mention
Too late,
the fact
already here.
that... Oh, damn. Too late. I was already speaking. Can I just mention the fact that the facts of this story that you read out, Jeff, are incorrect. It is possible to gain entry.
What? Hang on.
What?
You mean somebody, a journalist writing the story got something wrong?
Yeah, exactly.
What? No.
It is possible. If you enter the emergency code into the door will open. Now, there is a time delay that will allow I shouldn't really perhaps go into too much detail. There is a time delay, and it can be overridden, but it does open the door. So they say it doesn't, but so the captain could have got, if he'd entered the emergency code, he should have got access to the flight deck without any input from the sick first officer. So it's not like he was going to get locked out and unable to get in. That was not the case.
Correct.
Yeah,
and they were actually saying that in the article. It's just that before that time delay ran out, that happened to coincide with when the first officer was sufficiently coherent again to be able to open the door.
And the door doesn't automatically open either. It's
unlocked. Yeah.
For a short period of time.
That's right. You have to be.
It doesn't automatically. It never automatically opens. Yeah.
Well,
I
guess it's semantics.
Does this remind anybody else of the next Final Destination movie? Just like Nick was saying, the odds of the timing of that just blows my mind.
Yeah,
indeed.
All right. Hey, again, welcome, Nick Camacho. I'm not going to do your full little intro thing. Takes up time. We don't have a lot of time to play with here today on part one, but it's good to see you. And we covered the latest door open fatal before this story, and it's a Beechcraft Baron in Colorado that crashed, killing 2. Anything in particular you want to say about that?
Not particularly.
Okay.
It gets a
All right,
little.
don't forget.
So yes, I guess there is one thing that I'll mention.
Okay.
So I have very little time. I've got maybe like 5 hours in a Baron, so I'm not as familiar with that airplane. It looks very similar to a Bonanza with 2 engines. But one thing that is a little different about that airplane is it seems like the door open characteristics of it are not as well understood as Bonanza's. It is like widely understood and accepted that a door opening on a Bonanza is a complete non-event. It'll go into trail. We've talked about it probably 3 times on the show already. It'll go into trail like 3 to 6 inches open, and it'll just kind of sit there, and it'll be loud, but the airplane will fly fine. I've talked to people who have had doors open on a Baron, and they act the exact same way. And then I've also talked to people who have said that they've had doors pop open, and the airplane shakes and buffets quite a bit more, and it's significantly more
Startling.
Distracting, maybe. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Okay.
I don't know, we get into like the techno babble discussions because, some Barons have vortex generators and some don't. And there's a lot of different, the discussions I've had and the stuff that I've read, there's a lot of different theories about why they would be different and why it's not as consistent across Barons like it is across Bonanzas. But yeah, that is the only thing that I would say is, seems like it could still be a non-factor. I don't think it's like airplane out of control type of behavior, but I think it is definitely more of a startling input than a Bonanza. It could be more of a startling input than a Bonanza door opening.
Okay.
And it
Well,
kind of
very good.
stinks to talk about them once a month, which it feels like we've been doing.
It does.
Right.
Like it
Yeah.
seems like every time I get an update on my YouTube channels that I'm subscribed to, especially the aviation channels, there's something about an open door and a crash,
Yeah.
And unfortunately, usually it leads to people dying, and that's no good. Yeah. All right. Thank you for that, Nick. The Australian? Nope. Yeah, we could. Well, no. Where are we now? How much on the time? About half an hour. Okay. I think we should probably skip the one. Sorry, Camacho, you sent in that final report from the Aussie Extra 300 LT that landed at Bathurst Airport for the trophy delivery. We'll just set that aside again for next time.
I think
on,
we could.
if that's all right.
Yep, totally.
Or do you want to do it quickly?
Nope, we can set it aside.
Okay. So then that means we should go to this. Okay. And that, if you'll put my shared thing there, and then let's start off with this piece of video.
Responded to a car driving on an O'Hare tarmac over the weekend. Imagine this. CPD now says the vehicle belonged to a very confused food delivery driver who accidentally entered an area posted as off limits to non-airport personnel. Where was he trying to get?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. So the driver was not cited. The incident happened on Saturday.
And my God, how do you turn around?
Right?
Once you're in, you're in.
And the driver wasn't cited. That means he was blind. Oh my gosh, what was he doing driving a car?
So extra confused.
Oh
Like,
man,
very, very
no
confused.
wonder he drove onto the airport.
Explains so much.
But the thing that really is disturbing about this whole case is that the food that he was trying to deliver was not a Chicago deep dish pizza. It was a New York style. And that's what has everybody in Chicago very upset.
No, that's why he got pulled
That's
over.
what we would have gotten cited for.
He's going to prison.
Okay, so they kind of just covered here a Chicago O'Hare International Airport, or no, not the Chicago O'Hare International Airport had a bit of a security scare. The DoorDash driver was en route to his destination, although never really say exactly what his destination was.
Was his destination like the middle of the airfield? It was like a pin
Maybe.
there, and he's like, I don't know, I'm just trying to get to.
Perhaps that's why he ended up there. Although, Liz, are you are you showing the sign? Can you show that close up of the sign there? I think that he's driving along and he's going, I only have a couple more minutes here to get this thing, this food to my customer. On this sign, it says do not enter. It doesn't say anything about no DoorDash or food deliveries.
Just no ride app, no passenger pickup or passenger drop off.
Yeah. So he didn't meet any of those. So he figured, hey, I'm good to go. So I'm going to just get through the security. Yeah, not good. Not good at all.
I have a question.
What's a rice app?
There are gates, are there not? How did he get through the gate?
I'm guessing someone else went through the gate just ahead of him, and he just drove on
Piggybacked?
through.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So that happened in San Luis Obispo, like probably 12 years ago, back when I still lived out there. And I don't remember if it was, I don't remember what sort of car it was, but I think they followed like a FedEx truck in, and it resulted in more rigorous security training for everybody, everybody involved.
Go back to trading.
Yeah.
But that looks like, that almost looked, that picture that you were showing with the sign that said no ride app, no passenger pickup. I want to say that's the lower level, where pickup actually is, but it's right by where one of the control towers is between Terminal 1 and 2 or Terminal 2 and 3. And there's kind of a parking area there and a gate, and vehicles do go in and out of there. I don't know why this guy would have turned in there, but it's not so far away from where you might be driving that it would be difficult to get to, if that's where it really
He's
is.
probably following his sat nav.
That's exactly what I think was going on.
Yeah, I bet you're right. Like just
It's like, turn here.
mindlessly following it. Okay. It doesn't look like that's right, but I'm going to do it anyway. According to the outlet, the news outlet here, a source noted that the driver drove miles along the interior and restricted roads at the airport and possibly even crossed runways before someone in the air traffic control tower saw him.
Oh, boy.
Yikes.
Well, have you seen how many vehicles are just driving around? Like the ramp
they're all
area?
over the place there.
All over the place.
Yeah. Hey, I think maybe the most important part of this news article is that they got a quote from our friend Robert Mark, Airplane Geeks podcast fame. And also, they don't even mention here anything about a podcast because, it's just a podcast. But they don't also mention the fact that he was a former editor at Flying Magazine. I'm thinking that's kind of a big deal, right? I mean, wouldn't you mention that when you're citing somebody here? Anyway, it says business jet pilot, former air traffic controller Robert Mark told CBS that incidents like this are a major safety concern for the airport, but they don't happen often. And he said, luckily not that often, but I've seen it at other airports, and it's frightening when you're up and then you go, who the heck is that? Anyway, nice couple of quotes here from Rob Mark. So just wanted to mention that, put a plug in for him. All right. Okay. Why don't we do that? And all I have to do is just find the right button. There it is. Oh, no. Okay. Well, this is the time of the show where we get a little caught up on some of the people that are on the panel for this part one. And of course, we're going to go directly to Dr. Steph because she has some fun things to tell us about. You've been doing some traveling.
Did a little bit of traveling. So a very last minute trip. I haven't done a last minute, very time compressed Europe weekend getaway in a while. So it seemed overdue. But the way this came to be, I was doing a half marathon race with one of my best friends. We've known each other since we were in second grade, so 7 years old. So I don't know, do the math. My birthday's coming up on Saturday. It's a few years that we've been friends. But we were both, we both do half marathons, and have done some triathlons as well. And we were talking about our shared love and fanaticism for this triathlete, Lucy Charles Barclay. This is Lucy Charles Barclay that you're seeing on the pictures right now. And she does all these great YouTube videos, just kind of shares some of her training and her, things going on in her life. Just fun to watch. Seems like a really genuine person. Also excellent triathlete, has won, the Ironman World Championships, both in Kona at the full distance and then at the half distance in the past. We're like, wow, it'd
Her
be great to
shoulder
go.
muscles are amazing.
Amazing.
I mean, are those
Yeah.
those are pads? Are they?
No, those
my
are not
gosh.
shoulder pads.
Like those are
Yeah.
very impressive shoulder muscles on her.
Yes.
Wow.
But we were kind of saying, man, it'd be awesome to go and see the World Championship race in Kona sometime. It's cool to watch her race in person.
Disneyland right there, I think.
That's Disneyland. That's a different. I'll get to those in a second. But so anyway, we had this conversation, went home, and then she announced that she was going to be competing in this Ironman race in Lanzarote, which is one of the Canary Islands in Spain. And I went, that's actually kind of easier to get to than Hawaii from our part of the United States. So I said, it was like 2 weeks later that this race was happening. So I messaged my friend and I said, what's the chance that you could be free this Thursday to Sunday and that you actually have a passport? Because she doesn't travel very much. And she texted me back in the morning. She's like, I could make it happen. I was like, okay, great. Game on. That's like, kind of stuff I live for. So put together these last minute travel plans. She lives in the Chicago area. Obviously I'm here in Charlotte. Just the way the timing worked out, we were both going to have to work like right up until the last second of when we needed to leave to go to see this race happen. So I left from Charlotte. She left from Chicago. The plan was to meet in Madrid and then take our connecting flight to Lanzarote. I got to Madrid like an hour early, had all this time to wander around. She got there an hour late, so we missed our connecting flight because I wasn't going to leave her alone in Madrid at the airport for several hours. But really nice gate agent there. Talked to her. I was like, I'm not going to travel without her. I'll just call the airline, figure it out. Got us booked on a later flight. And I was like, well, all right, plan B. Now we've got a few hours in Madrid to wander around, which neither of us had really ever done before. So those were the other pictures that I think Liz was showing. I forget the name of the one that looks like Disneyland, Jeff said. Yeah.
Oh, that's not
So it's
Disneyland.
like-
Okay.
I want to say that's the former Royal Palace or part of Plaza Mayor. I can't remember
Nice.
exactly, but we were both kind of tired and jet lagged at that point, just from having traveled all night long and carrying all of our stuff, which wasn't a ton, but a backpack becomes very heavy after, several hours of lugging it around, especially when you've jammed absolutely everything into it for a weekend. But it was a beautiful day. It was like lower 70s, full sunshine, lots of people out. So we just wandered around, went to a bunch of different parks, had some amazing seafood. We went to a tapas place for lunch, and it was some of the best fresh scallops and grilled grilled octopus, that I've ever had. It was really good. And then we basically just got back on the train, went back to the airport. I had booked us on a completely different airline, and made our way over to Lanzarote, which is so interesting story about this guy. I'll get back to that in a second. But obviously one of the Canary Islands, very like volcanic in appearance. So not a lot of flora and fauna, very kind of stark. If you're looking at the picture there, that's the picture of the main beach where we were in the town that we were staying in. But not a lot off the beaten path once you're out of kind of these resort towns. So this Ironman race, Liz, if you go back to the picture, so my friend Lisa and I, and then there's an older gentleman there, and his name is Kenneth Gask. And so this Ironman race, obviously a full Ironman, so it's a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike, marathon run. He was responsible for getting that race set up on this island back in 1992. So it's been ongoing for quite a long time. I think they've actually done 28 editions of it over those years. And this guy is a Danish gentleman. He was living on the island back in the 80s and working at this big fitness club there called Club La Santa, which is kind of this destination site where all these professional athletes come and they can kind of camp there and train and, do their heat training and just kind of be away from distractions. So he was working, I think, as the fitness director or sporting director, and some guy came to stay there and he was wearing a shirt that said Ironman Hawaii. And he goes, well, how do I get a shirt that says Ironman Hawaii? That's pretty cool. And the guy goes, we have to go do this race and earn it. So he actually went and ended up competing in Ironman race in Hawaii. And
Just to get the T-shirt?
Just to
Wow.
get the T-shirt? No, I mean, he was obviously a pretty high-level athletic guy himself back in
Yeah.
the 80s and 90s. And, you know, the story goes that when he got there, he was looking around. He's like, well, Hawaii doesn't seem that dissimilar from this island. Why couldn't we have an Ironman race here? And I guess it took us several years of him petitioning the Ironman organization to actually get it set up. But it's been the longest running Ironman race in Europe since then. So pretty interesting. But the first day that we were there, Liz, if you go back to the picture, I don't know if I included the picture, but there's a statue of this gentleman
Yeah,
that they had put up in town.
It's in there.
Yeah. So we saw the statue and we were reading the thing and we were like,
Yeah.
oh, that's really cool. And we just assumed that kind of because there was a statue of him and they had just put it up this year and had a plaque and a tribute to him that maybe he was no longer around. And then the next morning he was wandering
Oh, no,
around
it's
at
his
the race
ghost.
start. So, I'm like, oh, that's the guy. And then later on,
Yeah, oh, sure. Yeah.
and then later on the day, he was standing in front of his statue, like greeting people and taking pictures and stuff. He was very nice. He just came over and started talking to us out of just curiosity, see where we were from and who we were cheering for and, you know, what our backgrounds were. So that was
What would
fun.
be really fun is if that statue was like one of those people that do like act like they're statues and then just start
Right.
moving around.
Start moving around.
Okay, I'm sorry. Please
Yeah,
continue.
this guy, I don't know. He's kind of all around the island. I guess I didn't really look into this as much as I looked into the Danish guy who started the Ironman, but
Look at
kind of
the
tail.
Oh, that's a tail.
It's a
I'm
tail.
sorry.
It's definitely a tail. So
I was-
I don't know.
was
It
pretty
cracks me up
impressed.
when you see it because I don't know. You can, if you're watching the video, you can probably tell what we're talking about there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Lucy won the women's race by a wide margin, like 10, 15 minutes, something like that. Yeah, she was out there by herself, kind of wire to wire, leading the whole race. So that was expected. The men's race was actually pretty close. I think the first three guys were within, the first two were within a minute or two of each other. They were definitely very close on the majority of the bike and the run. So that was exciting to watch as well. And, it was great. We, if you go back to that picture of Lucy, Liz, that's kind of the main road through town that parallels the beach. There's all these shops and restaurants and little boutique things. When we got there, everyone's like, oh, it's really busy this weekend because the race is in town. It really was not very busy at all. I'm not sure what normal busy is for them, but it didn't strike me as being too crazy. We actually, no, it wasn't a ton of crowds, but we were able to basically spend the better part of the day sitting at one of the cafe bar type places on the street there. They had, everything set up on the sidewalk and we just sat and we watched the finish of the bike course was right in front of us. And then the run course was a series of out and backs. So we got to see all the athletes go by, 6 or 7 times, which was really neat. And we got very sunburned, even though we used sunscreen. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk about it.
That's taking off to go home. We had all of these islands are volcanoes, or former volcanoes. This one, Google Maps tells me, is Isla de Alegranza, maybe. I don't know that anyone lives on this one, but it was just very interesting and striking appearance. Thought it was beautiful. Yeah.
Very nice.
So yeah, left Thursday evening, came back Sunday. So quick trip, but it was
Yeah.
good.
And now you're way behind in work and everything else, right?
No, I just have crammed things into the next 3 weekends in a row too. So that's all my own doing.
Yeah. Thank you
glad to
for
be
making
here.
time for us, Steph.
Thanks for-
Always good to see you. All right. Yeah, Camacho, before he has to run and get back to work. What have you been up to, sir?
I've just been working a ton. So I spent the majority of the last, month almost, bouncing around between Kansas and the West Coast. So I've spent time in California at my office, as well as a couple other places on the West Coast, going back and forth between the office and home and doing a bunch of traveling. So got that behind me for now, but I think I've got another big surge of it coming up here in a month or so. So hopefully I'll have an opportunity to get on a couple of shows here in the next few weeks.
Well, I have to say, speaking of California, because I know you do a lot of work on the West Coast, looking at our live audience, our live chat, we have a bunch of people from California with us here today. We got Tim Van Ram, and we have Jim Mercado, our brand ambassador. You know, that wonderful Fly Acme Airlines logo.
Yeah.
Jim. Yeah, there you go. Steph is showing on her. Mike Cochran sent the crew at the time these beautiful Yeti mugs with our logo, and there Liz is showing it now. So that was Jim's nice work, and so we thank him for that. And anybody? Oh, Sam Bolog from LA is with us as well. So we got Southern and Northern California covered in the live chat room. Yeah.
Tim Van Ram doesn't look happy with you.
Oh, he doesn't? Oh, what did I do? Yeah. We have already kind of covered that. I think we've kind of smoothed his feathers a little bit. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have any Kansas tornadoes in the last week?
No, we didn't. You know, we've actually gotten significant severe weather warnings on, what is today, Wednesday? So I guess it would have been Sunday afternoon and evening, and then Monday afternoon and evening. We were in the enhanced weather pocket, and neither day it really nothing really came about in our specific area. There was bad weather throughout Kansas, but we missed it completely on Sunday. I don't think we even got any rain or really anything from it on Sunday. On Monday we did get a bunch of wind. So there were limbs and leaves everywhere in our neighborhood. Unfortunately, our little sailing club, which is in a lake about a half hour northeast of where I live, a couple of guys there had damage to their boats. But that seems like about the extent of it. No significant like tornadoes or structurally damaging effects here, fortunately, because they were talking about some pretty bad weather.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. Good to hear. Okay, let's see. AJ, are you going to be with us on part 2, or are you going to be? You're not sure yet.
Looks like probably not.
Okay,
probably.
Then let's hear what's new with you besides the facial hair or lack thereof.
That's the big story. Is just terrorizing my children with a face they've never seen before in their entire lives. So,
yeah. So how long did it take to convince the police after your kids and wife called them for a stranger in their home?
Multi-day process. There were a lot of background checks and things happened. It was it was a thing. Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to?
No, that's pretty much it. Okay. Hopefully won't be on the show Saturday because hopefully I'll be flying a turboprop up to Maine, but we'll see. So
nice. That fancy Georgia Tech bird?
Fun.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yep, the old yellow jacket.
Yeah, that's a neat looking airplane. All right, very good. And then we'll save Captain Nick's getting to know us segment for Saturday, including mine, which will be just so amazing. You won't be able to believe all the things I've been doing. Anyway. All right, very good. So that'll do it for our getting to know us segment. And that leaves us with a little bit of time, I guess maybe about 10, 15 minutes at most. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right. Okay. Is that Anthony Liotta? Hello from Montana. Tune in for my drive from Kalispell back to Missoula. Ooh, nice. That's beautiful country out there in Montana. Okay, so tell me again which number is that? Okay. All right, very good. So we're gonna. Oh, here I probably should do this, although it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter because I'll just put it in post. We're going to start off with this from Montana Tony. Boeing 737 bodies go for a swim. Oh. He says, hello from Montana. Thought I would share this sad picture with you. And I am a former captain, he puts in quotes, locomotive engineer, now a company manager of safety and training for a major U.S. railroad. I travel the division which spans 3 states. So your podcasts keep me company on my long drives. Back in 2014, we had an unfortunate derailment while transporting 737 bodies from Kansas to Washington State. I've linked the story in this email for you, and that'll be in the show notes for everybody. Thank you for what you do. I enjoy the show immensely. If any of you enjoy 1940s music and radio shows, visit my online radio station, WLVN1940sradio.com. Again, we'll have that link in the show notes. And I did check it out, by the way, and that's very cool. I loved listening to some of that 1940s radio stuff. Anyway, he signs off by saying, hope you all have a wonderful weekend, Montana Tony. And then I'm sure you're showing now the pictures of that sad picture. I guess those are manufactured by Spirit in Tulsa, I believe. And then they ship those things to via rail to Seattle. And looks like they had a little bit of an issue there back in 2014. Yeah, that is sad. Wonder how much money that is right there, just laying around destroyed.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot.
I wonder how many of those are airplanes now.
Oh, we all a lot.
Hopefully none of them.
Yeah, a little Bondo.
It'll buff
That'll
out.
Take care of it. It'll buff out.
I think most of those are from Wichita because I think those are built by Spirit in Wichita.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I sometimes confuse. Sorry. Yeah, I think I didn't intentionally insult Camacho, but I did because when I was saying it, I'm thinking, is it Tulsa or Wichita? I always, for some reason, I get those two cities messed up or mixed up.
Yeah, they sound so similar.
Well,
And,
I don't know.
you know,
and they're
not like they're in
even
different
the same
states.
state.
Yeah, yeah. They're not even in the same state.
You're just making it worse for me and harder for me to do all the post editing, and so I don't sound so completely clueless. But now you've made it so I have to keep all of this in
I think
there.
that was a good one to keep. That was a fun one.
I think I will.
That was an
Yeah.
innocent one. It's okay.
Okay.
I remember hearing stories of them showing up with, just bullet holes and various maladies from their multi-day train ride from Wichita to Washington.
Little target
Really?
practice.
Target practice.
Only in America.
Yeehaw.
Bullet holes, that'll be all the Airbus pilots who on layover.
Sound of freedom.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never experienced that firsthand, but I've heard a couple of different people mention that.
I don't know, but but they're from Europe. They don't have any guns, so I don't know. Not sure.
You
about
can
those
rent
stories.
a gun for nothing, or you just go to Walmart and buy one, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, right. So uninformed you are. All right, let's continue with the second one from Tony. Which one is that? Oh, the one that I have selected in Evernote. Again, from Montana Tony. I was listening to episode 662. Nick was explaining a video he was watching of a wire snap where the deck crew jumped over the wire. I was actually on board the USS George Washington when that happened. 9/11/2003, so exactly 2 years after 9/11/2001. We were doing workups and carrier quals off the coast of Virginia, thankfully not in the middle of the ocean. September 2001, I was an 18-year-old kid working at the Oakland airport, fueling airplanes at an FBO, looking to go to flight school to be an airline pilot. 9/11 changed those plans. After the towers fell, I went right to the recruiters and enlisted in the Navy. Awesome. I was an aviation ordnance tech with the flight deck department and was in the hangar bay at the time of the incident. I worked nights, so I was off duty. All of a sudden, the man overboard whistle sounded, and immediately after, the alarm for mass casualty went off. The ordnance handling officer saw me and told me to get my ass up to the flight deck and don't let anyone get in my way. I flew up 3 decks, even pushing officers out of my way. Our duty during man overboard and mass casualties was to man the weapons elevator in front of the island. That elevator goes down to the mess decks where medical is located next door. The mess decks served as an area for mass casualties to be staged. When I arrived on the flight deck, it looked like a bomb exploded, bodies and blood everywhere. A crew was calling for help to move an aircraft tractor. Apparently, one of the deck chiefs got hit by the wire and partially dragged under. When they pulled the chief out, he had partial amputations of 2 of his limbs and looked like he got hit in the face by either the wire or the solid metal knuckle that holds the wire into the retarding assembly. They had launched helicopters to rescue the pilots who ejected. I immediately manned the sound power telephones for the elevator and got it powered up, did a comms check with the mess deck operator, and opened the door. As soon as the door opened, casualties were being loaded. One young female was on a stretcher crying and looked me directly in the eyes, pleading to me to help her and asking if she was going to die. Oh, man. That was the loneliest feeling I've ever felt in my life. All I could do was try to assure her she was going to get help soon. I still see her clearly in my mind to this day. Like I said above, fortunately we were only off the coast of Virginia and they were able to evac the most wounded to shore by helicopter. Everyone survived their injuries. That's great. The chief, from what I was told, took years to recover but returned to full duty and retired some years later. That day will live with me forever, but the training, teamwork, and response that was shown that day by all, with no loss of life, is a true testament of training and drills kicking in when most needed. Thank you all for what you do. Been away for a while, but now an avid listener on my long travels each week with my current job on the railroad. Respectfully, Tony, Montana Tony. Wow.
It's a great description of a horrific accident. It just shows how dangerous having a huge, thick steel cable under tension whipping around, a deck where so many of those guys have to work. And it's a pretty dangerous environment when something doesn't go wrong. So I'm amazed, how well they coped with that, despite all the injuries.
Yeah, fantastic that everybody survived and recovered.
Exactly. Yeah, no fatalities. That's phenomenal.
And as you said, that's just a testament to, that we can carry over to the things that we do in aviation. The training, the better the training, the more you practice these drills. And like Tyler on the last show talking about his golf course landing, he said his flight instructor just pounded it in over and over and over again about, okay, where are you going to go now? You've lost your engine. Where are you going to land? Where are you going to land? And so when it actually happened, it was something that was almost second nature for him. And obviously the crews on this aircraft carrier, that was second nature to them as well and made a difference. Huge difference.
Yep.
All right. So is that going to end part 1, Liz? Hello? I don't hear anything.
Don't know.
Okay. Okay. We're going to wrap up part 1, and I thank all the crew members that were able to join us today, which I think is pretty much everybody. That's awesome.
Good job.
Yeah. And we look forward to, and thank you to our live audience. It's always nice to see all of you. Some of you has been a while, but we're glad that you're there, and we're hoping that we'll see many of you again on Saturday morning. I believe Saturday afternoon. That's right, early afternoon on Saturday for us here in Eastern time zone in the U.S. And we're going to do another about the same kind of time frame, length of show. We got a plain tale, and we have some really interesting updates from Captain Nick on a recent trip to London. And so you should make sure that you're here with us if you can be on Saturday. And with that, we're going to go ahead and just sign off, and we'll see you on part 2.
Cheers, y'all. 'Cause
Bye.
I won't see you.
See you, everybody.
Jeff, did you really just say pounding it in over and over again?
I did.
More than likely.
Somebody get
Well,
that clip, please.
I don't.
Yeah.
Well, I don't.
We definitely need that.
Well, your mind is in the gutter, sir. That's all I can say.
You're the one who was wondering about markets.
When I was saying
earlier.
those words, that's not what I was thinking.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Very true.
Run some drills.
Little, yeah, we
Sign off drills.
need a few drills.
mind you,
Exactly, a few drills on some things.
The shambolic performance is often the funniest part of the show.
It's true. It's very true. Anyway, well done,
Did
guys.
somebody say champagne performance? What?
Yes, indeed.
Thanks,
I
everybody
know
in the
for that.
chat room. See some of you
Yeah.
on Saturday.
Oh,
Hope-
has anyone
Yeah,
got
yeah.
any suggestions for the show?
Yeah, before they
title
leave,
yet?
before we let them off the hook, any
Yeah.
show suggestions, at least for part one? We might come up with something.
Got to do something
The
with
only-
the O'Hare.
yeah, the only
DoorDash.
one
Oh,
I
yeah,
have.
yeah, it's
I
got to
have
be
two.
DoorDash.
I have blind driver because we were talking about he was not
Sighted.
sighted.
He wasn't sighted.
He wasn't cited.
Blind
Yeah.
driver. And then I think this one's too long for you, Nick, but when one door closes, another one opens. Yeah, about the
Well,
the
it gives me an
Cessnas.
idea. Yeah,
The Cessnas.
blind not driver.
Blind DoorDash driver, maybe. Blind food delivery driver. Something like that.
What
Blind
was the
Dasher invasion.
What's the name of the blind piano, blues piano player?
Oh,
you know?
Ray Charles.
Ray Charles.
Ray
Ray
Charles.
Charles,
Yeah. When I kept thinking of that.
Driving a DoorDash car.
Yeah, exactly.
Could we make something out of those Boeings that were shot up on their way from Wichita to?
No,
Seattle.
because that's just going to become an American bashing one.
Yeah?
We don't do that.
Nick does one of his best work in that way.
I'm very even-handed.
I was going to make a comment about like tying the blind Grubhub driver with the unconscious pilot, and I thought, that might get a little too dark with Nick at the wheel there.
Thanks for putting that in his head, Nick.
Now it's
And don't forget to put our Jackass Penguin in this week.
Yeah, I was a bit late getting it in for Jeff, if you pardon the
As
expression.
it were.
Oh,
All right, everybody. Thanks
Well, you
for
weren't
joining
pounding hard
us.
enough.
See you Saturday.
Cheers, everybody.
Bye.
it's my birthday on Saturday. Bye.
It is.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
wait,
yeah,
wait.
happy
Yeah,
bir-
stop.
wait.
Before we
wait.
go, we have to
Wait.
sing happy birthday.
Oh, no,
it's an
I should-
early
yes.
day.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, indeed. Yeah, we've got to put that in.
No, we
Steph's
talked about this
birthday
before,
on-
Can
Steph.
someone give
We
me a
did.
note? Yeah.
Me.
Yes.
Me.
Happy
Okay.
birthday
Day
to
to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy
Bread and butter in the gutter. Happy birthday to you.
And many
And
more.
many more.
Many more.
You guys.
Yeah, the leg was
Lovely.
great on that. It was just great.
Oh, yeah.
Have a
that's
great
the
day,
best.
Steffi. Are you doing something great?
Yeah, I'm running a 10K with my brother in Chicago at Soldier Field.
Nice.
And then the following weekend is his birthday. We're 8 days apart on birthdays, 3 years and 8 days. And for his birthday, we're running a half marathon in Chicago. So
How else
Wow.
would Steph celebrate?
Sound good.
I always try to do fun stuff on my birthday, but to each their own.
Steph does
yeah,
fun.
Yeah.
it sounded
I
fun
always
at
think,
the time
what
when we
am I
signed
gonna
up.
do? That's fun. I'm going to go out and run. No. that
Anyway,
never
have a
happens.
great birthday, Steffi.
Thank you. I will. Appreciate it.
Bye,
So,
everybody.
Bye, everybody in the live audience chat room thing.